Hello, hello. Today we are going to walk through replacing the built-in screen on the Roland TD-20X to the TD1220RDR OLED screen. The TD-20X came out in 2012, I think, so this is not exactly a new piece of equipment, but Roland tends to hold up over time. I paid about $800 for this about 4 years ago, and before that I had the TD-10, and I bought that around 2002 for $700 used, and just sold that in 2016 for $400, so that's not a bad return. TD-20 is a great sound module. The only problem with these, over time these screens tend to die, and mine is in the process of dying. Now, I don't know that you need to buy a replacement OLED screen for this. There is another video out on YouTube, and I'll put a link in the description to that one. It shows you how to take apart the TD-20X and clean it. So the left side of mine went out completely, and watched that video, took this thing apart, cleaned it out, put it back together, and the screen operated like new for a while, but now it's starting to fade out again, and I'll put in a clip that shows what it's doing. So I don't know that you need to buy this replacement, but we're going to try it because I do not want to upgrade to the TD-30 yet. I may do that later. I don't want to do that right now. You can order this guy on Reverb, the replacement OLED screen. It's a little overpriced. That's the only thing I'd complain about this. $200 I think is what I paid for this, and that there's probably maybe $50 worth of equipment in here, so it's a little overpriced, but it's cheaper than me going out and buying the TD-30, even if I were to sell the TD-20X online. So let's talk about what the TD-1220RDR OLED screen comes with. It comes with the OLED screen, which is attached to a circuit board, 4 standoffs, some screws, some plastic washers, a bezel for the screen. This screen is a bit smaller than the TD-20's built-in screen, so we're going to need that to cover that up. A ribbon cable. I think this is in case yours breaks. I don't think you necessarily need this, but I think they just put that in there for that reason. That's basically it. First, we're going to start by taking all the screws off the bottom of the unit, and off the front here, and off the bottom ledge of the top panel right here. Okay, after we have all the screws off, we want to carefully remove the bottom cover. Once the back panel's off, we need to go through and remove all of these ribbon cables that you see here. And Roland was so nice, they marked them all with a red dot for us. These basically all have to be carefully removed. Be very careful when removing them. It's easy to break these. Most of them should just pop out. Okay, now that we have all of the ribbon cables disconnected, this is the one that goes directly to the monitor right here. Be careful with that one. And also there is a power supply right here. We need to disconnect that as well. There are 6 screws holding the motherboard onto the chassis, so we need to remove those. Once we have the 6 screws holding the motherboard to the chassis out, I'm going to carefully lift and remove the motherboard from the unit. Once you remove the motherboard, you can see the back of the old screen right here. There's still a bunch of stuff we have to take out. This circuit board right here has to come out. It's held in by 2 screws here, and on the side and the back, here and here. Now we need to remove all the screws from the back, seen here. Once the screws on the side are taken off, screws in the back, and the screws holding this top circuit board in. And by the way, there's two pieces of tape here holding this circuit board back, so you'll have to peel that up. And we just want to carefully remove this circuit board. After the top one is pulled out, the second one needs to be pulled out. I have disconnected this power connection. This one is kind of strapped tight in here. So what I'm gonna do, rather than get in there and start cutting, take some electrical tape and just tape it out of the way so I can get in here. Once that's out of the way, you need to remove the bottom one. This guy just comes right out. Inputs. Next, we are going to remove the power regulator. It's held in by 4 screws on the corners. Now, with the power regulator removed, we have full access to the old screen. We're going to undo the 4 screws that are holding it down. With the 4 screws holding the old screen in gone, we can just pop this guy out. There she is in all her glory, 2012. As I said before, the new OLED screen is a little bit smaller than the old one, so they were nice enough to include this bezel that makes up for the gaps. You don't have to put this on, it's completely optional, but I'm kind of an anal bastard, so I'm going to put this on before I install it. These 4 standoffs that they give you, I'm just figuring this out now, are going to have to be glued down to the screw holes here. There's no way I'm even going to bother attempting to screw those down with the standoffs over it, so those will have to be glued down. Okay, I have just put a touch of super glue at the bottom of the standoffs. You can see they are all glued in place. Hopefully those will hold. Next, we're going to screw down the new OLED screen. I'm hoping you can see this. I'm just holding the screen to the plastic window with my hand just to do a check on how it looks. And it looks like it's sitting up a little bit naturally, so I'm gonna have to make some adjustments to the bezel. I think I want it to sit more centered. Like here, that's definitely gonna look better to me. Okay, figured out how to center that better, so it's fine now. One thing that's very important to mention, there is potential risk with the power supply to the power regulator connecting with this USB port on the new OLED screen. It's on the back of the circuit board here. What I'm going to do is place a piece of rubber on top of the micro USB port, and that should help protect it. Okay, for the last step, I have attached the video cable to the video port on the back of the OLED screen. This is the original one. I didn't see any reason to use the other one. Unless this one doesn't work, then I'll swap them out. Hard to see, but I have jammed a piece of rubber in between the power regulator and the circuit board on the back of the OLED screen. Hopefully that will stop anything from connecting there. Now we're ready to assemble everything back together. Okay, so we have assembled the unit back together. New OLED screens in place. Moment of truth. And we have our new screen.